Hey, what's up team? It's Sherman here from Geek Psychology. This video is on the NF type. I call them enchanters. Other names for them are like idealists, humanitarians, visionaries. So you kind of got the feel of the NF within that. In this video, I'm going to first talk about the technical understanding. Second, get into some big ideas about the NF to help you like really connect to the idea. After that, how to spot an NF, how to know if you're talking to an enchanter or dealing with an enchanter. And then after that, some team dynamics, how to ally as an enchanter and how to ally with an enchanter to get the best of their kind of abilities. So starting off, the technical understanding. Basically, you have intuition and feeling. Intuition is an abstract understanding. It's a way of learning about the world, perceiving the world through this abstract lens. It's not about the senses necessarily. It's what looking at a thing kind of inspires the imagination to think of. And then feeling is a judging function. It helps you make decisions, and it's based on the values that people hold, how people feel about something and kind of the importance that they put on something. So there's kind of this different skew for either way. Like whichever one is introverted, whichever one is extroverted, is going to kind of change the balance. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, please watch the other videos or go to the website geekpsychology.com to figure out a little bit more of what I'm talking about. But I'm assuming that you've watched the other ones if you're watching this video. But basically, introverted intuition is kind of looking into a deep understanding, this meta perspective to understand the world. If you couple that with extroverted feeling, so an NFJ type, they're trying to have this deep kind of long-term foresight about how the world will turn out in an abstract way, and then expressing that through emotions, through cohesiveness within the group. But then if you kind of flip the dynamics and you have extroverted intuition and introverted feeling, like an NFP, you have this deep understanding of the self, this personal subjective understanding of how I feel about things and what it means to be authentic to myself, and then expressing that through ideas, through abstract connections and analogies. So there's this little play between each of those, but in general, it's taking abstract understanding and meshing that with feelings and values. Some of the big ideas for the enchanters here, and this is where we're going to get more into the RPG aspects. But basically you have the definition of enchanter, you have regents, and you have the decision-making process. So first let's explain what an enchanter is through the definition itself that you can look up as well like I did. Basically an enchanter is someone who enchants or delights. Okay, so what is enchanting? Enchanting is to attract or hold attention by being interesting. Interesting is kind of like curiosity, sparking curiosity about something. So you have basically intuition defined right there. It's being interesting, kind of spurring this curiosity, trying to inspect what's going on. And just being wowed, I guess, by the world. Let's see, what else? This one thing, enchanters are also enchanted by the world itself. they're enchanting, I believe, to other people. You see an enchanter, you're like, wow, this guy's, interesting. This girl's really unique in some way, because their ideas are just ungrounded. But enchanters themselves are also like, the world is just full of unique possibilities, and kind of I have to dig further and further to figure out what's going on. So they are enchanted themselves. Also, I said in the definition to enchant or delight. Delight is to please somebody. Could be through motivating, supporting, helping, whatever. And this is the feeling aspect. It's meshing, it's understanding somebody's situation through their values and how they feel about something, and then trying to tailor your actions to fit that. And this could be, trying to understand yourself and tailoring your actions based on your own personal feelings and values, or it could be looking at your party, your allies, and being like, well, these people want this thing, how can I help them get that? So you have intuition and feeling within that. Also, in an RPG kind of aspect, another way of looking at it is the enchantment is on top of a real piece of gear, an item, right? So for example, you have a sword. The sword is made by a blacksmith, an ST type. It's real, it's tangible, you can feel it, you can stab with it, right? It's actually there. The enchantment is this kind of mystical, magical, intangible element that's put on top of it. So it's kind of like this aura about it. It's not real. And so the enchanters are adding that kind of fantastical buff, enchantment to the item itself. Next up, the regions. In any of these games, if you're an enchanter or whatever, you disenchant an item, you break it down, you collect the dusts or the essences or the shards or whatever it is. Those are regions. A region is something that you use. It's an item or kind of like a substance that you use to detect, measure, examine, or produce a different substance. So those four are very key to this part of the big idea. Detect, measure, examine, or produce a new substance. Detect means to discover or identify. NFs, according to Kiersey as well, are identity seekers. They're trying to figure out what is really going on with this person. What's the deep motivations behind their actions? And that is what detecting is. They're looking for the values held by somebody based on their kind of abstract understanding of what is going on. To measure means to assess importance. That's what feeling is. The feeling function, whether it's introverted or extroverted, is trying to assess the importance, the value of something, and then act accordingly to that. To examine means to inspect thoroughly, to determine the true nature of something. This is too easy, it's all laid out there. To inspect thoroughly to understand the true nature. So intuitives naturally kind of distrust the real world and what the senses tell them. There's always this kind of underlying thing that they trust more than the actual real tangible item. So they're trying to if they see something, they're trying to look behind the curtains. They're trying to kind of read that aura about it and figure out, where it came from, where it's going. Just a little bit kind of more abstract, not attached to the real tangible item itself. And so they're inspecting thoroughly, looking at all these different options, trying to piece together this, meta understanding of what the thing is. to get to the true nature of it. And then to produce a new substance, it means to change the context or the state of something. I said before that the herbalists, the SF types, are all about changing people's states. They're connecting to people and changing those, the physical, actual emotions. But an enchanter is not trying to necessarily change the physical state, but they're trying to change the mental state, the heart state. And this could be through just imagining things in a different context, adding some metaphor, some stories, doing exactly what I do here at Geek Psychology, is trying to inspire people through looking at things in a different way. And that changes your mental state, changes how you perceive something. So within that, you have the understanding of what a regent is. Enchanters have to use these regents to enhance the real world substances, to change them up a bit and to help people relate to them. Also, the decision-making process for enchanters is, it's not really necessarily a decision-making process in the sense that it's not thought out as much as like an ST or an NT or even an SF. It's like enchanters are reacting to emotions. So they're in a situation, they see something or something happens, and then emotions come about and they have to deal with those emotions. So imagine it like they're in the sea, okay? And there's these waves of emotions that keep coming at them in whatever situation. So this wave comes, they have to decide, are they going to take it head on? Are they going to, let it carry them to wherever it's going? Or are they going to dive deeper under the surface and try to pass the wave in some way or handle it in some way? But it's like they're constantly coming, just wave after wave, and they have to deal with it in some way. So it's not necessarily thought out as much. Through, for example, introverted feeling, eventually you're going to have this strong structure of like who you are. And you'll be able to take that and react a little bit better to the emotions in the situation. Or introverted intuition is going to kind of give you this broader, deeper perspective of what's going on. Extroverted feeling, other people's emotions are going to hit you and you gotta try to adjust them and yourself in orientation with that to make the situation more harmonious. Or extroverted intuition is just kind of imagining it in different situations and trying to tailor the introverted feeling to that. So the next step is how to spot an enchanter. Well, basically, it's abstract and it's values. So you have to look for people who are not really grounded, are not tethered to the real world. People that are kind of in their heads, a little spacey, just kind of bouncing around from idea to idea. The language that they're going to use, for example, an NFJ, someone who uses introverted intuition and extroverted feeling, is going to have this understanding of what will happen. And they're going to try to express that through emotions, through emoting, and through the feelings in the outer world. And I say in the outer world as in like they emote and then those emotions are out there. Whereas an NEFI, like an NFP, it could be INFP, ENFP, it doesn't matter. But they're going to have this deep-seated feeling and emotion that they're trying to express through abstract ideas. And this is where those kind of stories and metaphors and stuff come about. So don't expect them to be like really grounded, basically. Expect them to want to deal with people and do it abstractly. They're just connected to ideas about people. They're looking for like, how do people interact? How do I feel about this? How does he feel about this? How can we make things a little bit more cohesive and harmonious? So you'll often see enchanters in like charity and philosophy, psychology, writing, even through like music and stuff. A lot of them are probably a little bit more focused on the writing process than the singing process. You know, they want people to feel this deep emotion. But of course, you know, people can end up in whatever career that they do. Like, it's not always focused to those like four. So next up is the team dynamics. How to ally as an enchanter with a bunch of other people. So basically, you are naturally focused on helping and supporting other people. So don't suppress that. You know, you need to find a way in whatever environment it is to motivate other people, to help enchant their weapon or their gear in some way that works with them, to help them customize their world a bit. You know, you don't want to just suppress that and ignore that, because that is your superpower, right? So help them kind of detach from the world, float up a bit, and go into the abstract clouds and just imagine things in a different way, or see things in a different way. And just keep that passion for motivating people in there. Also, as if you're allying with an enchanter, know that that's how they think, that's how they deal with the world. So if you have a point to make, you're going to want to relate it to another context using an analogy, or you're going to want to speak directly to the feelings. You know, how do people feel about this? How is this going to impact the world or the person themselves? If you're just giving them data and graphs and like all this empirical evidence, it's gonna fall flat. They're just gonna be like, I don't care about that because it's not connected to how I feel about the situation or people. So yeah, speak to the feelings, speak to the abstract kind of creative sense, and also though, you know, try to help them kind of lean a little bit towards sensing and thinking, because they've probably ignored that quite a bit. You know, help them see the real aspects, you know, and get this logical, technical understanding of the impact of the situation. But also, like I said, don't forget that they rarely listen in that way. They rarely think in that way. So try to tailor that a bit as well. Be like, you know, I know this is not how you work. This is not necessarily what you're thinking about, but boom, you know, these things are very important to think about. And if we adjust those, if we fix these, then we can deal with the feelings and the people, and we can kind of spread out our ideas a little bit more. Got it? So that's the end of this video on enchanters. I hope it was helpful in some way. And if it was, please comment, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And the next video is a secret. I got it in here, but I can't tell you yet. So, all right, anyway, thanks for watching. Good luck, have fun. Peace.